Chair Shot Reality on Wrestling Inc. What a week. What a week. Just when you think Raw 25 might be the top story or when Royal Rumble might be the top story, no. We got affairs that go on to the gridiron. I'm Justin LeBar here in Point Park University's downtown Pittsburgh studios. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, CSR original Josh Eisenberg joining me. And Josh, it's the XFL.
Look at the logo behind my head, Justin. Red, white, and blue. I wonder if Mr. McMahon did that for a specific reason. But, you know, initial reactions to this, I think it's been brewing for years in Vince's mind. It's been a couple of weeks since there's been rumors of the XFL coming back. I'm excited about it, but I don't know what to expect because it's the complete opposite of what it was supposed to be in 2001. So I guess that's a good thing, right?
That's exactly a good thing. He literally went in there with this, everything from the fact that he was on a virtual set doing a press conference with people on the phone and not live in the audience as the one was 17 years ago when he announced the first time. He is doing everything different, which is smart. He's saying no WWE interaction. He's saying that he's not going to be really on camera. He's going to get, experienced football executives. There's going to be no criminality. Really hitting a point right now that, the declining audience of the NFL mad about the off-field behavior that these players have in the NFL. No criminality. I mean, he literally covered every basis possible. Now, of course, it all comes down to what he actually follows through with. But right now, he did everything different down to how he did the press conference. And with a brand that is known for failure as the XFL is, as a punchline, that's the best thing he could have done in this reboot.
Well, I do think it's interesting, though, whenever you look at what he said today, Justin. I mean, obviously people are going to love the idea of an alternate brand of football. He has 2 years to build it. But at the same time, it's still the XFL. It's still Vince McMahon. It's still a guy that has the mentality, and he might be more subdued now, years later of what, he's seen as failure at his first time. So maybe he's going to do it differently again. Everybody's going to be skeptical until this actually launches, until this takes off. And is it always going to be 2020? I mean, that's the launch date, but we also knew that the WWE Network took years and years for that to come around. So I'm just wondering if 2 years is A, enough for Vince McMahon. And I wonder, B, whenever this product does launch, how is he going to find the talent that instead of going to the NFL is going to come to a brand new brand of football? I mean, how does that work? It's going to be so interesting to see how he actually gets real talent here. That was the problem last time, and he also admitted that on the conference call.
Well, I do think he is a little bit more subdued, and I don't remember the specifics of the financials of the first go-around, but I do remember NBC had a portion into this. And by all accounts of what we know, all we know is that Vince sold $100 million of his own stock to fund this Alpha Entertainment. So it kind of feels like Vince's, as Vince's best ventures have been, when he went all in and gambled for WrestleMania 1, went all in and gambled for WrestleMania 3. When it's all him, that seems to be when he's at his best. Now, 2 years, you're right. It's a great point about the WWE Network, so we'll believe it when we see it in 2020. But I think he can get it off in 2 years, considering he did last time in 12 months. And I think by giving a 2-year heads up, not only does that give current professional players, Colin Kaepernick was mentioned, but not only does that give current players, that also lets right now, sophomores in college consider themselves and say, look, maybe they, especially quarterbacks, maybe they play a certain way of college ball. They're a certain talent, they're charismatic, but they don't fit in the what is known as the NFL scheme. So potentially this allows current college players to plot out their future of, okay, well, if I don't get drafted to the NFL,
there is this alternative brand. Yeah, there's this alternative brand. And I think the first time around, he went with NFL rejects, guys who have already tried out years and years and years. So now he has to target a different demographic of player. You're right. He does have to target those NFL or those college players that maybe run a different system, maybe a spread offense that's not going to translate well in the NFL. Maybe, you look at Heisman quarterbacks in college. Guys who don't translate into the NFL. But I still think that's going to be such a long time, given the perception of everybody wants to go to the NFL. That's where the money is. That's where the spotlight's at. So in my mind, he needs a backer. He doesn't need the NBC Universal umbrella. It would be nice, but he doesn't necessarily need that. He needs somebody that knows business, that knows finances, and that's willing to take a chance. One guy that sticks out to me, Mark Cuban, a guy who has continuously wanted to purchase NFL teams, baseball teams. He's been super successful with the Dallas Mavericks, as I personally know and as everybody else knows. He has a great show on ABC. This is a guy who also owns AXS TV, who's interested in New Japan. Think of the possibilities of Mark Cuban helping out Vince McMahon on this venture.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a lot of potential to that. Yeah, you know, he's going to need, he probably needs some backing, some help, some other people that have other connections, as you know, especially because, you know, Vince is in the live entertainment wrestling world, but he, you know, this is some different skill sets and people you're dealing with. I think he just needs to, and he alluded to it, and I said this prior to the XFL announcement officially. I said, you know, the best thing he could do is stay away from network television, stay away from the traditional medium, do everything. You know, I know personally from having done video for several years here in Pittsburgh media with the Steelers, how restricted the NFL is. How, you know, 2-minute limits of what video you can put up, and they can only stay up for 24 hours when you're talking about web-based and social media stuff. They are so buttoned down conservative. WWE is the exact opposite. They embrace social media to showcase their talent. So if Vince is smart, have all your games air on every social media platform, air it on the WWE Network, air it on every other possible way option other than traditional television. And I think that mixed with, if he does stick with what he's saying, makes it faster. Maybe eliminate halftime. Don't let there be any instant replay. We've seen the horror that's caused in the NFL. I think if he can live up to those things and the quality of plays there, if the games only take 2 hours real time rather than 3 hours real time as they do in the NFL, if he follows through with all that stuff, I can't imagine this. I mean, it's going to it'll last longer than 1 year.
Buckle our belts, Justin, because there's going to be a lot of news for the next 2 years, and I like the fact that this is actually coming out now. It's going to give it extra additional time than it really needs, obviously.
This will be very fun to watch, of course. The most common question, of course, was the repeat of which cities would get teams, and he wouldn't name anybody. He said everything's on the table for cities, so where they decide to go will certainly be something to watch, and of course the team names and etc. Josh Eisenberg 4 on Twitter, at Justin LaBar. We got so much more to talk about. Juice is going to join me here next as we're going to talk about Raw 25. I was there in the Manhattan Center. I'll give you my reality, the good, bad, and otherwise. Plus we got our Royal Rumble picks and encourage you to play WrestleRumble.com where you can win some big money. A lot of stuff here on Chairshot Reality on WrestlingInc.com.